Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Something Something podcast. My name is Eric Kasloff, and with me, as always, is Larry Sands. Say hello, Larry.
Hello, Larry.
Hey, that joke never gets old.
That's what I was going to ask because I was thinking about changing it up, but then I thought, no, at the very last second, I was like, no, I'll just keep it the same. So
Well,
that's
we
good that it
have
never gets
two of
old.
them. We either, do the party on or say hello,
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah. And of course, I like to party on too, party on,
Yeah,
party
it's
on,
always
party on.
always good to have a Wayne's World reference in anything you do.
That's right. And now we have the Animaniacs reference.
Exactly. Oh, yeah, because it does remind me of, the whole polka dot.
Hello, nurse. Yes,
Well, Larry,
absolutely.
how has your week been, my friend?
It's going good, going good. We just started picking up, doing some shooting, almost done, shooting a Christian film that I'm working on. So
Okay.
quite excited about that. Got another couple days. And the last time we talked, it's always inspiring. I find myself inspired by doing good work, doing good film work, doing good editing, and I find being nice to people is inspiring. So it's very good and it gives me pleasure to help other people. So it's very good. And by doing this film, I'm helping a couple of people that are in the cast because they're having some difficult time, but we're kind of bonding because we're both having our difficult time. But
That's the one thing about difficult times. They do bring people together.
but it does show you the strength that not only you have, when you face the difficult things, but also how it shows me that I can be a light for other people, in their time. So, and just actually, man, just thinking about it just gives me like little chill bumps. But yeah, I mean, it's always nice to be inspiring and help bring people up, so that's a good thing. That's
That's
a good
awesome,
thing.
man.
Yeah. So, and how are you? No, okay. So actually, let's talk about your script.
Yeah,
Your
I
script
love
that you're
how,
writing.
you started off talking about the Christian movie you're working on, and now I get to
Mm-hmm.
talk about the slasher movie that I'm working on.
That's great. That's great. But
Um,
yes.
the second draft of Hillsboro Road is done. I'm really happy with it. I don't have a printer right now, so I went to the library to print it. The second draft was 61 pages. It needs a lot of work. Another 20 pages. If I could get it at 85 pages, man, I would be happy with that. That
Oh,
would be
really?
the dream. A nice, lean 85 pages, maybe 90. Now, interesting
Yeah.
story. To everybody listening, if you have a friend who's a writer, never do this. I sent Larry the script to get his thoughts because I'm letting him have a part in it. I'm being a nice guy. And I was like, hey, man, did you read the script? And he goes, yeah, I've been reading your script. And I
And this is
text
through
him,
text, by the way, right?
yeah. And
This
I
is by
text,
text.
any thoughts? Silence. Complete texting silence for about 4 to 5 hours. And I'm like, my heart felt like it was in a vice while I'm waiting to get your feedback. And, finally, you came down off your ivory tower and, talked to me on the phone and gave me your thoughts on it.
Well, I mean, my goodness, I forgot to text you back.
Yeah, but you can't do that to someone when
I
they
know.
ask you
I
for
know.
thoughts on a creative thing they just did.
I know. I hate when that happens, and you're like, "Well, what's the deal?" You don't know whether to text and go, "Okay, we're done for being friends. Hey, I give up. Never mind. Lose my number." Right? but
Yeah,
but
all
there
of
is
that
one
went through
thing.
my head.
But there is one thing that when I talked to you that jumped out at me is that you seem to enjoy that I had actually read it and gave you a little bit of my feedback. And I found that it just jumped out at me, and it speaks volumes when somebody goes, "Wow, you really read it?" I go, "Yeah." But I mean, that's the kind of stuff that is so important, I think, to every creative person out there, you know. So I'm glad I was able to give that to you, and actually I'm glad you took my feedback. So
Yeah.
thank you.
One
You know,
interesting thing, I mean, as I printed it, I'm already making notes on it. I mean, every page, I'm up to page 29 right now in my note taking, and man, you can barely see the parts of the script from all the pen marks that I've made.
that's good. That's good.
But
That's
hey,
good.
Larry, I'm sorry,
Yo.
someone else just walked into the studio, and you know who it is?
Oh, why? Who is it? Why
It's
don't you tell
Segway
me who it
Sam.
is? Oh, Segway Sam. Hello, Segway Sam. Why, hello, everybody. It's funny you guys should be, you and Eric, Larry should be talking about inspiring and inspiring other people and inspiring works by an inspiring person. Because for today's guest, we have nothing. Oh, I don't. It's very, very inspiring. I do have to say, I have to introduce our guest, Ryan. Hi there, and thank you. Thank you for being a part of our show.
You're very welcome. I'm glad to be here.
Well, the only way I know how to start this is just to let people know, you, how do we start this? Because
I
I'm
think we
at a
should
loss
let
because
Ryan tell us the story because I want to hear it
okay.
from him.
Yes. Okay. Good.
Yeah, that's a good
Yeah.
idea.
We'll get the first-hand account here, Larry.
There you go. Yeah, that's right. That's right.
We're not into the game of telephone.
No, not at all.
So,
right. Yeah.
yeah, so when I was 9 years old, I was over a friend's house at his sleepover party, and in the morning on Columbus Day, we all went out to his driveway to play on his big wheel toy. And when it was my turn, I slid down the driveway into the road, and a speeding pickup truck happened to be coming by. And it hit me in the back of my head, dragging me for 55 feet until coming to a stop. So I was immediately forced into a coma. I have no recollection of the incident. My parents informed me afterwards, but I was in a coma for 2 months and given little to no chance of survival because the truck actually crushed the back of my skull and it penetrated part of my cerebellum, which controls many of the body's functions, but mainly balance. So through emergency brain surgery, a large portion of that had to be removed. And my neurosurgeon said to my parents that I operated on him as if he had a chance, but I don't believe he does. So everything in that 2 month span was very touch and go. And, my family stuck by me. They never left my side. And even though I was unconscious and didn't realize it, it was a big help. So once I awakened from my coma, I spent 7 months in intensive rehab, relearning literally everything all over again. And for the first roughly 3 weeks, I could not even speak. So I didn't know what happened to me, where I was, anything like that. So actually, I went on a home visit around Christmas time, and this was before I regained the ability to speak, and I just concluded that I was in some sort of dream, and one day I would wake up. But once I saw my house, my dog, and a bunch of get well cards and stuffed animals, that's really when I knew this was all real.
Wow.
And you were 9 years old during all of this.
Yeah.
My goodness, man.
As a 9-year-old, were you, and looking back, were you able to process anything that was happening?
I was. Yeah. So fortunately, the impact did not affect my memory. So I had all the memories from my childhood and stuff. And believe me, I had a fantastic childhood. I was very athletic. I loved to run, mountain bike, dirt bike, go-kart. I mean, you name it, I did it.
Just
So
a really active, regular kid at that time.
exactly. Yeah. So as you could imagine, the accident really turned my world upside down.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. So I knew I had to make a choice whether to put in the work or not. And I just could not see myself living a life in a vegetative state.
At what point now, and I realize, how old are you now?
24.
24. And I realize this is kind of odd, even for me, talking about when you were 9 or 10. But at what point did you realize that you had to make that choice?
I
in
realized.
your
go on.
In your whole process, was it early on, or what was that breaking point? Was this is what I have to do?
It was early on. I would almost say immediately. I think the major turning point was the home visit I went on that I told you about. So I knew I wanted to get back to my dog and my vacation home that my family owned on a lake up in New Hampshire. I mean, I wanted everything from my childhood back. So I didn't want to let that go.
Looking back, how I'm trying to put it, because I'm still trying to process all this.
So am I.
I mean, this is you are the epitome. Okay, so let me see. I don't know where to go next, because you're such an inspiring person, and to be able to talk to you and to hear, how did you how did you overcome? And I think I know, but was it a day-to-day process, or did you set goals for yourself? Obviously, what was that like to be 10 years old and to be, I mean, on this path? This is what an adult or a teenager, far beyond what who you were, 9 or 10. And I mean, this is really grown up stuff, but you're a 9 or 10 year old having to deal and process all this stuff. So I mean, obviously, were you frustrated? Because what I want our listeners to listen to this and just hear that, number one, how inspiring you are, but also the thought process that it just doesn't happen overnight.
No.
You know,
Yeah.
and you know, so what was the first thing, even though you couldn't speak, what were you thinking? Does that make any sense at all?
Yeah, it definitely does. So I would have to say that it was really a day-by-day process. I mean, I knew that this was not going to fix itself overnight, because in the rehab hospital I was at, there were a lot of other patients, and some of them were my age or even younger. But I knew that some of these people were there for years. So this was not a sprint, it was a marathon.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And,
Yeah.
you know, at first, I just worked on regaining my basic strength. And then, you know, as the other things came along, then that's what happened. But I knew I couldn't rush anything. So I was in it for the long haul.
Man.
Throughout your bio, there's a lot of references to faith and prayer. Could you tell us, during that time, was, like church and a relationship with God a big part of your family's day-to-day life? Or did you come to that through this situation?
No, we were a very religious family growing up, but I would say my faith has grown more after the fact, because all of the instances throughout my recovery were just remarkable and honestly cannot be explained.
No, not at all.
Yeah, so just to give you one example, while I was in my coma, the Sisters of Charity in Bridgeport, Connecticut, they came up to my ICU room and they would tape miraculous medals on each of my broken bones. And then they would begin to pray. And every time they did this, my vital signs showed a significant improvement. And the medical staff could not explain it. But whenever they left the room, then my vitals would return to their grave state.
Now, we're building to a story here with our friends. So, as a kid, you had this horrible thing happen to you. You started going through recovery and stuff. We're going to jump a little bit ahead here. Any normal person, like if this would have happened to me and Larry tomorrow, we would just give up. I'm being honest, Larry, but you
No.
did not do that. Will you please tell our listeners, as a 24-year-old young man, what you're doing with your life right now?
Yeah. Well, right now I'm living the dream. So I had a dream growing up of being a professional cyclist traveling the world. And when my accident happened, I thought that was taken away from me. But I found out years down the road that it was not. And I could be a paracyclist. So I need to ride a trike with two rear wheels instead of one to aid with my balance. But all in all, it's a regular road bike. And I'm living at the Olympic Training Center in
Wow.
Colorado. This is where I've been living for the past 3.5 years. I went to Rio. I won a silver medal, and my season has just begun this year, and I'm stronger than ever.
Wow,
So
man.
I'm loving what I'm doing.
As well, you.
That
My goodness, man. Ah, what is. I'm at a loss for words here, dude.
well, it's quite amazing to and to to hear your story at the very start, and then to jump to what you're doing now with your life. At I was gonna say, at what point did you realize that you could go into cycling?
I realized roughly 7 years after my accident. So it's a funny story, actually, because I swam a lot for rehab, and that's what I thought the only sport I could do. But through swimming, I was actually awarded a hand cycle. And that is the only adaptive cycle that I knew of at the time. So I'm like, I can ride a regular, well, not a regular, but I can ride a bike again. So I began training on that, and I did a race in South Carolina. And at that race, albeit I did terribly, I met my first paracycling coach. So he introduced me to the tricycle because he saw me get up and walk away from the hand cycle, and he knew immediately that something was wrong there. Because they're typically for quadriplegics or whatnot.
Yeah.
So once I saw the tricycle, I knew that it was love at first sight, and I needed to be a world champion.
Now, notice he didn't say, I want to do this. I want to be world champion, not just one of the guys. You wanted to be the guy.
I did. Yeah.
Going through what you went through, to speak about the thing that you just said, how important is it to have not only a positive well, yeah, let's just say a positive outlook, but an attitude of just go do it. How important is that to you?
Larry, thanks for saying just go do it and not the other way, because we would have definitely been sued. It's the vanilla ice logic, people. That's what's going to save us.
That's right. That's right.
I think that mentality is crucial. I mean, I would not be the same person that I am if I didn't believe that. And I'm a firm believer that everyone needs that same philosophy, because I'm just a man. I'm doing this, and I mean, anyone else can do it. They just need the right mindset.
Wow. I mean, it doesn't take much for me to be speechless, but this is like heavy stuff, man. And I'm just like, it's okay. And so how about this? So not only have you recovered from a traumatic brain injury, not only are you a medal winner for the Olympics, you wrote a book about
That's what I was
about your journey. Yeah. What now? Obviously, what led you to want to write a book? But no, really, why did you feel it was necessary to put a book together?
Well, over the years throughout my recovery, the more people that heard about my story, the more responses I got of utter amazement. And they told me how unique and inspiring my story is and how I should write it down. And you know the cliche that there are power in numbers.
Yeah.
So this is a true testament to that. And, Larry, what you were talking about earlier on the film that you're working on right now, how it just gives you that good feeling, and helping others, being nice to others is inspiring, that sort of thing. Well, I find no greater value than helping others. So whatever I can do to spread inspiration or whatnot is great for me. It makes me feel terrific because I believe that, this happened for a reason.
Yeah.
Everything in life happens for a reason.
It's one of those things that it feels horrible to say something like that happening to a 9-year-old happened for a reason, but it did happen for a reason. It's just hard to let those words out of your mouth or to hear them at first.
Exactly. Yeah. And you better believe that for years and years, I was lost. I was frustrated. I didn't know what to do. I didn't know why God would do this to me. I mean, like I was telling you before, my childhood was great, and that was all wiped away from me. And like even now, every day I fantasize riding a 2-wheeled bike or just doing something that I was able to do before my accident. But, I have a new purpose, and it's spreading inspiration to others. And, my impact on the rest of humanity, I think, is more important than running around or riding a two-wheeled bike at the moment.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That everything you say is so inspiring.
Wow, man. Sorry to cut you off there, Larry. But if we had to give this episode a title, it would be something about inspiration. This has been such an amazing show. I mean, we've talked to a lot of people and it's been cool, but this is, again, one of the most important episodes we've ever had to do. What do you think, Larry?
I absolutely agree. I mean, I just want to say thank you, Ryan. The things that you've said and brought to the show, you've just lifted us up to inspiring levels. So I just want to say thank you. And I guess as we wrap up, I just want to let everybody know all the social media links will be included in the bio and the description. Absolutely. And I also want to mention that you can pick up Ryan's autobiography. It's called When the Lights Go Out, A Boy Given a Second Chance, and you can get that on Amazon. So what a show.
Well, everyone, thank you so much for listening to this episode and have an awesome week.
Thank you.